it takes to get some viewers on this. All right. That was quick. Say hi, guys. Let me know who is here. Playing around with this StreamYard software that RJ turned me on to. What up, Hugo? What's up, Emily? I am having a good weekend. Hey, Debbie, what's going on? What's up, DC? What's going on, Keith? Tony? Eric Rosner, man, where you been? I've not seen you in a minute, man. Hope that means that you're doing well. Hope it means you've been busy. So, the way this is going to work, guys, if you guys have questions, go ahead and throw them in there for me. I'm going to depend on you guys for content tonight. See how many people we can get on, considering this is just kind of a random live. What's up, MJ? How you doing? What's going on, Ryan? Saw you just signed up for the Etsy challenge, man. Glad to have you with us. I know, RJ. You turned me on to it. Actually, Chris turned us both onto it, and then you playing around with it kind of flipped me over to it. It's so much easier than Zoom for this kind of stuff. I'm trying to find the answer for you right now, Cher. It used to be 90 days. However, I believe it's faster now. I'm trying to find out what the exact timeline is. Amber, hey, if I'm setting up my first Etsy shop, how much we set aside for the first month for general expenses? I think it's going to depend on how many items you have that go live, like how many items you're going to list. I mean, if you figure, like, just do the math, right? It's 20 cents for a listing credit. So if you should be getting you should go out and find somebody's link for the 40 free listings because that's going to save you some cash. I have one of those if you need it, Amber. But it's 20 cents per listing after that. And then figure you're going to have to front the money for anything that gets ordered through your store first. I would say, talking with a couple people in our group, because it's been a while and money isn't necessarily something that I worry about now with the stores, just because we kind of know what we're doing. So talking with a couple people in the Top Secret research group, they said they'd started out with about $100 basically and just used that money and let it compound over time. I would say, especially going to Q4, I would probably bump that up just a little bit. just to make sure that you have enough cash to float yourself until you start getting those payments. I'm looking to find out how long exactly it does take to get the daily payouts through Etsy. Jay D'Souza probably knows this, but he's already in bed because he's on Canadian time. But I'll find the answer out for you, share, and make sure that you know. No, it's not 90 days without a check. It's 90 days to get daily payments. I want to say that you start getting weekly payments, I believe. It may even be faster than that. I'll find out the answer. It's not something that's easily Googleable, it looks like. All right, so if you are a new seller for your first 90 days, your funds will be available for deposit 3 days after a sale. When the 90-day period ends, Etsy payment orders will become available for deposit next business day. So that's the answer. So every 3 business days, you can get a deposit. I mean, it's a security measure on their part, right? Like they want to make sure that the stores that are opening up aren't just going to take a bunch of money in and then run with it. So it makes sense. Diane, I'm just going to say DC. I was hearing a lot about Print Tech last year. They had some cool products. Has anybody used them? I know a couple people that have used them in the past. The thing that stood out to me from the people that I know was that they had some pretty serious issues that they went into Q4, both with fulfillment and then also with some of the quality on the orders. This was last year. I have not heard anything recently, but that was what I remember. Ryan, why do you have 5 other videos up? That seems a little intense. What are you guys, by the way, for those of you guys that are in the Etsy challenge, what are you guys looking forward to? Like, give me some things that you guys are looking forward to going through. Like, what are you looking for? I think I have a pretty good idea, but it's always good to get more feedback. All right. So Brian Jordan, I can't get on merch by Amazon, any other platforms. There's Etsy. It's the thing we're talking about. It's a different skill set, but you can do that without any of the hassles. Redbubble's also out there. So is Teespring. So there are definitely some options, Brian. Eric, question. Do you not like Printful because of shipping times? I don't like Printful for a lot of reasons. Shipping times suck whenever it gets busy, which is really hard to do or hard to handle when your business is starting to scale. It results in bad reviews for your stores and a bad customer service or a bad customer experience, which means the customer doesn't come back, which can really, really affect you. The other thing I don't like about Printful is I think that their taxation policy is absolute bullshit. It would be one thing if they were charging us tax on what they're charging us for the order. They're not. They're charging tax based upon what the sales price is, which they shouldn't be able to do, right? Like if their argument is that they need to charge sales tax because they are the point of sale should be for what they're actually buying. I 100% think that there's something super fishy going on with what they're doing with taxes. So that's the biggest reason I don't like Printful though, is they suck. Like they suck continuously. They drop the ball over and over and over again whenever anything gets busy. And I just think it's a horrible way to run a business. I forgot I could do this. Are you allowed to use more than one print production partner in the store using both Printful and Shirtly for different products? You can. You need to make sure you disclose your partners in the listings. Make sure that you are acknowledging that that is somebody that's helping you with those things. This is something that shops can get tripped up on very, very easily when they're first starting out. If they don't go through and cross their T's, dot their I's, just make sure that you are always acknowledging that you have a print partner. One of the things that you can do too, you don't have to say the actual name of the print partner. So I see a lot of shops go through and change it to, XYZ print, XYZ's printer or something like that. But yes, you can use multiple print providers to fulfill your stuff. So for example, if you wanted to use Shirtly to do your shirts and then use Printful to do like pillows and artwork and stuff like that, that's something that works for people. I know that Dion has done that with her shops. And the nice thing about that is not as many people are doing that stuff. So Printful actually gets that stuff out fairly quickly. All you guys being interviewed by Jacob Topping. That's an experience, Ryan. Okay. I like Jacob, but his interviews tend to be long and meandering. And there's some gems in there, but there's also some times where I think that Jacob just needs to speed it up a little bit. So, but it was a good opportunity for everybody to see who we are, I think, because the thing that happens is, unfortunately, like Jay is a little bit quiet. And RJ, believe it or not, is a little bit quiet too. So when Dion and I get on a live together, it's hard to get a word in edgewise. So Keith's question. First, it's a 30-day challenge, not 90. And when the challenge is over, no, you will not have access to the videos. That's the whole idea behind the challenge. It's 30 days long of training. And the reason that we take away the access to the videos at the end of that is because I want to incentivize everybody that's going through the challenge to take action and watch the stuff and go through and do the steps. If we allow people to have access access to those videos afterwards, we definitely don't see the same reaction. We don't see people taking action nearly as much. So it's 30 days. On day 31, all the video content comes down, with the exception of the webinars that are bonus webinars that we're going to make sure that you guys get access to. Like, you guys will get copies of those. But other than that, all the rest of the content comes down. When looking for a local printer, what should we be asking them, looking for, or any other tips? So there's a lot that goes into this. I would say that the most significant thing is going to be what their pricing is and how quickly they're going to be able to do turnaround. So like, are they going to be able to carry stock for you guys? Or if they can't carry stock for you guys, are they close enough to a hub, to Sanmar or Alpha Broder or one of the major suppliers, to make sure that they can actually get shirts in like next day in terms of stock? The other thing is too, are they doing enough stuff so that they can get case pricing on their shirts? Because if they're not, if it's just like a small 1s and 2 type thing, then your blank cost is going to be way, way higher. And if your blank cost is higher, then obviously the cost on your shirts are going to be higher. The other question I would ask too is, are they willing to do fulfillment for you? So are they willing to actually not just print the shirts, but also make sure that they pack and ship them? Or is this something where you're going to have to go out and pack and ship your own shirts? They're just going to print them for you. That's where I would start. Also, the other thing too, I guess I would ask is, what equipment are they using? Like, what kind of printers are they using? And then I would do a little homework, right? Because you guys are getting a little bit deeper into the weeds. You should start to learn this stuff. Like, learn if, for example, somebody's using a GT3, it's a Brother printer. They have a lot of problems with whites. And sometimes if you're running volume through it, they can get clogged, they can have issues. The GTX is a much better printer. Or for example, like if they're using an Anajet is an absolute total piece of shit, and it's going to break, guaranteed. So I would just start there, I guess, is probably the best place. It's a lot of information. It's definitely a big step to go from just your normal like POD where they're taking care of most of those things to working directly with a local printer. It has its advantages, like being able to go one-on-one with somebody and have that one-to-one relationship where you can talk to them, find out what's going on exactly with your orders, get them to prioritize things. I think that's pretty powerful. But there are other things that go along with it too. Does Etsy take care of sales tax for us? So Etsy takes care of sales tax in the localities that require Etsy to take care of sales tax. So like Washington is one, I believe Texas is another, and there's a group of them. There's going to actually be a lot more of these because of legislation that was recently passed. Amazon just recently sent out an email. I think I shared it in the Top Secret Research Group too. But there's a bunch of states that are basically passing laws saying that these companies need to remit the sales tax directly versus putting it on the sellers. 100% agree with that, Burke. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Like, somebody's going to go to jail for what they're doing right now, but not our problem. And I'm sure that Ryan is talking about Printful here. So yeah, I think that's pretty common with a lot of people right now. Okay. So, Emily, one of the reasons I'm taking the challenge is because it forced me to take action, as I've just been coasting with my existing shops while focusing on Merch by Amazon and KDP. Want some independence from Amazon. So I wrote the sales page on the etsychallenge.com. I'm the one that wrote the copy behind it because I wrote it from the perspective of why I moved to Etsy and why I think all of you guys should. So you'll see some things in there that speak very specifically to building a business that is independent of Amazon, building a business that hopefully is Amazon proof. Because I think that anytime we put all of our eggs in one basket, we're just opening ourselves up to a lot of risk. It also means that we're limiting what our upside is because, quite frankly, like Amazon merch is, while it's a great platform, don't get me wrong, it's a good opportunity for people out there that want to put the work in. At the end of the day, unless you have amazing artwork, you are essentially a commodity. And so you're limited on your ability to really grow and scale your business for a lot of reasons. You can't use VAs to help you to publish. You don't have the ability to write certain sales copy to stand out from other people within the listings. AMS as a platform is not a particularly robust advertising system, I would say. And by robust, I mean it's not something that scales easily. It's something that requires a lot of manual intervention. It requires you to either be very, very good in spreadsheets or to have a system that's very simplistic. So I just feel like it's a better opportunity for people to start moving to platforms where they have more control. Now, with more control, that means more work, but with more work, that means more rewards. It means the ability to also diversify your risk, not be totally dependent on one platform. Where do I find out about the Shipley offer for discount? I think you're asking about Shirtly. And you are in the challenge. We'll have the link posted up there. Depending on if you have an active shop right now or not, would be my advice with regards to signing up for Shirtly right now. If you have an active shop and you are taking in orders, then totally sign up. Like, that 15% is going to make you a lot more money. However, if you do not, or if you have a store that's not doing a ton of orders, is not very full, I'd wait till the start of the 30-day challenge so you can get the full access to us while we're going through that, and make sure that you're going to be able to actually take advantage of that 15% off. Matthew Pate, what's up, Matt? For those of you guys that don't know, Matthew has a YouTube channel, and I will. I think I have it. I think I'm subscribed to it. He does some really good videos about KDP. You guys should look him up. So I appreciate that, Emily. Emily, I've heard Jay and Dean are the people who go for Etsy knowledge. I feel like my money back before it's over. RJ rocks too. I love how RJ's at the end of that. RJ's amazing. Like, it's funny. RJ is the reason, he's like the glue for everything that works. I don't know how else to explain it. It makes the entire process much more enjoyable to have somebody that has fun while you're doing it. And I make a lot of jokes with him and at him because he's like lobs softballs at me all the time. But like, RJ makes all of this stuff very fun. And that's like an undervalued thing, I think, right? Like, having somebody that you can pay attention to and learn from who also makes it fun makes it much easier to spend time doing that versus somebody that's like dry and boring. Like, there's nothing worse than the teacher that just stares at the chalkboard and talks to it, and you have to try and keep up with it, and you're like falling asleep the entire time. Yep, there you go. Yeah, eventually what's going to happen. So Matt is talking about the states that Etsy remits sales tax for. I think what's eventually going to happen is this is just going to become a fact for every single state, that all of the major platforms, all of the marketplaces are just going to remit the sales tax versus putting it back onto the sellers, because it's a nightmare for sellers. Yeah, I agree, Debbie. How do you do your accounting for Etsy? Fees, cost of ads, cost of fulfillment, etc. So I do this in spreadsheets. I have a big Google sheet that I have built out that kind of every single month I go through and I clean up the spreadsheets that we get from Etsy and put all of that information in there. It's the easiest way I found to do it. I know that a lot of people use QuickBooks. I was not super impressed with the QuickBook integration for Etsy. I felt like it was missing some things, especially if you run multiple shops. If you have one shop, it's fine. If you're running multiple shops, I was not super impressed with it. It made it very difficult to keep track of those things. So I just started doing it myself. That is probably not the best answer in terms of like scaling things out. And quite frankly, we're probably hiring a full-time bookkeeper for everything that we have going on beginning in Q1. I'm not going to try and deal with it right now as we go into Q4, but I am going to have a full-time bookkeeper working on our businesses just because we have so many things going on. You can definitely find those guys online too for a fairly reasonable amount, because it's not like it's full-time work. Like this is something they should be able to do probably in 10 hours a month maybe. But considering where you are in your business, Nicole, and where I know you want to go, it would be something I would consider. Do we have any other questions, people? So we moved them up slightly. I can't remember if you went through the KDP challenge or not, Matt, but I think you went through the first one. Anyways, we moved them up slightly. I moved them up to 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time because largely I just needed a little bit more time for the pool business. What was happening was when we were doing it at 6:30 and I was working until like 7:30 or 7:45 on the challenge stuff, I just pushed my day back way too far and it screwed everything up for me. So I wanted to move them up just a little bit, which means it's going to suck for me a little bit more and for Ryan and for RJ a little bit more. I'm going to have to get up and get coffee a little bit sooner, but I think it's going to work out better, and it's just a nice, even, steady time. We're going to keep it there consistently all the way through the challenge too, versus moving around a little bit, because I know sometimes that gets confusing for people. So Ryan, yeah, I see your comment right below that. Is that an accountant question? That is absolutely an accountant question. Yeah, get a CPA. Like, one bit of advice I can give to every single person that is on this is the sooner that you start talking with a CPA about your business and the structure that you should have your business set up in, so you can minimize the amount of taxes that you're going to spend, the better. Like, even if you're just starting out, you should talk to somebody and see what structure you should have in place to help minimize the taxes you're going to have to deal with. Because otherwise it can be a gigantic pain in the ass and it can be very, very painful. Talk to a professional. What is the difference between the Etsy challenge and the Etsy crash training? So you're talking about the Etsy crash course, which is a course that Jay and Dion put out. I would say the biggest difference is you're getting 4 of us versus the 2 of them. Some of the structure is going to be very similar. However, that particular course was put out a little over a year ago, and it's still really solid. Like, I believe in that course 100%. I actually paid for the course to have my VA go through and take it. The biggest difference is, quite frankly, like, that course is $249. This is $97. I think that the other difference to that is you're going to own the content for that. You'll have access to it for the lifetime of the course. You'll also get access to the private Facebook group they have for that course. Whereas with the 30-day challenge, you only have access to the videos through the through the 30 days. Then on day 31, it's going to go away. But that's the main difference, along with the fact that you're getting RJ and myself, and you're getting a lot more marketing stuff with this versus theirs, which is very much, it's more of a nuts and bolts course. Like it's going to take you through the process of getting your store set up successfully, like what the best practices are for Etsy SEO, copywriting, some marketing stuff, but not a ton. It's going to take you through the old promoted listing stuff, I believe. That actually might not be in that. Might be a separate video, but either way, this is going to be a much more updated look at Etsy, I would say, in terms of like the new stuff that's going on, and then also I think the marketing stuff is something that nobody's talking about. Nope, we're going to keep it the same time every single day. Share. I think we're just going to keep it at 6 a.m. and keep it consistent. Have you heard about OrbitKit? And if so, what's your opinion? Software auto uploads designs to multiple platforms, not Amazon. Yeah, it doesn't upload to Amazon. I've used OrbitKit since it was in beta. Myself, RJ, and I believe 5 other people were essentially the beta testers for OrbitKit. That's where like all of my Redbubble Cafe Press Spreadshirt earnings have come from. I haven't actually uploaded anything to those platforms. I've just used OrbitKit. It works well. I think it's a good piece of software. It was pretty rough when we first started out, but they've done a lot of work to it. And considering what you pay for it versus what it can do for you, it pays itself off pretty quickly. Is your Etsy push because of merch resetting BSRs on Black Friday last year? I sense anger. My Etsy push is because of something far earlier than that. The resetting of BSRs on Black Friday didn't affect me a tremendous amount. What affected us a ton was the ASIN changes that have happened over the last year and a half. Like the last 2 years, they have changed the ASIN structure. And when they changed the ASIN structure, even though they kept reviews, it wiped out all the sales history and all the sales velocity within the algorithm. So all of these assets that I had spent thousands of dollars on AMS to get to rank and sell consistently were wiped out. And literally it was like $12,000 out of my pocket overnight because merch didn't spend the time to actually talk to the content creators or didn't care about it in the sense that like what it was going to do to their business. And at that point, we had already started to move heavily over to Etsy anyways, just because I thought it was a bigger opportunity. Everybody wanted to focus on merch. I was like, screw this. I'm going to go to the place where not everybody's spending a lot of attention. And we dove deep into Etsy and we saw returns almost immediately. Where everybody else was struggling on merch to get sales, we started seeing sales on Etsy instantly. And I talked about this with Jacob the other day. Merch was like a black hole in March, April, May of 2018. You would just throw things up there and nothing would sell. And I remember talking to people that had, literally like this was their job. They had left their businesses to work on merch full time and they were in a panic. And we were at the point where we were starting to really heavily focus on it. And I was like, we just can't do this. And so we went to Etsy. And unlike merch, where I was just uploading and uploading and uploading, getting no sales and getting no feedback, having no data, whatever, right? Etsy gave me the ability almost instantly to see what was selling, right? To see the data that came from it and be able to figure out what my customers were looking for. And then I could actually talk to my customers. I could find out exactly what they wanted. I could make alterations in like the things we were doing. Like it allowed us to really narrow down who our customer was and to really figure out exactly what the audience was we were going to serve. And literally like we just started making sales consistently day after day after day. And it was just a no-brainer, man. Like unlike merch where we have very few options in terms of how we're going to get things done, Etsy just gives us so much more control over our business. Any idea if it's a big deal to change over existing Etsy shop from sole proprietor into an LLC? No, it's not. It's not super hard. You just need to contact Etsy and talk to them about it, and they can take care of it. Is there anything we should have set up prior to the challenge beginning? So if you're in the challenge group, there is a video that I posted today. I think it was today. I think it was earlier today. That kind of talks about all of that stuff. There are 2 different pieces of homework that we want you guys to read through and make sure you guys are familiar with. Other than that, No, I don't need you guys trying to go out and do a bunch of stuff prior to the challenge, because what I don't want you guys to do is develop bad habits. I don't want to have you guys developing bad habits that I have to break later on. I would much rather you guys approach the challenge, if you haven't had an Etsy store set up already, with as clean a slate as possible, because I want you guys to learn the exact steps that we're teaching you versus having other conflicting information in your head. Any break days. So if you're in the KDP challenge the last couple of times, we set up break days throughout the challenge. So we're going to do it a little bit differently. They're not going to be break days. What they're going to be is they're going to be implementation days. And yes, there are implementation days that are scheduled throughout the challenge. And what those are days where we are setting aside, because we have planned out literally every single day of the challenge exactly what's going to happen. And there are certain days where we feel like you guys may need a little extra time to make sure that you can accomplish the action items that we have set up for you. I am using a Logitech C920. And then it's StreamYard is this service that lets me do the little video stuff with it. There is. You can build an email list on Etsy following TOS. This is something that Dion is actually going to talk about within the challenge. There is. You do have to get a little bit creative. But what you are not allowed to do, and what some people do, some sellers do, I know because I've bought stuff from Etsy, some sellers abuse it, and they literally, like, they just take the email that comes along with their order and they just start emailing you and spamming you. That can get you in trouble. Sometimes people get away with it for a while, but if a customer complains to Etsy, you're going to end up in deep shit. My new Etsy store only has 13 listings and 4 sales already, so I'm grateful for that. I think that we are going to see a lot of these comments coming out of the challenge, because I'm telling you right now, like, there's a lot of leverage. Like, when you guys are entering Etsy, as we approach, the busy time of the year, as we approach Q4, it's going to be wild, man. Like, there is so much traffic and so many people looking for gifts that if you guys do a good job and you follow along with the things that we're teaching you, you guys are going to have such an advantage over everybody else that is out there that is just kind of throwing shit against the wall or just porting over their merch designs. And I'm excited for those of you guys that are going to go through the challenge, take action, and actually follow along. Do you gonna do Shopify, your own store challenge next? Shopify is on the list for us. It is probably not something we are going to do. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. I think it depends on the audience. I think that most of our audience is prepared to make the leap to Etsy. Shopify is just a different world, and I want to make sure that we have enough people in the cohort, enough people within the group who are ready to make that leap. And if that's the case, like, you need to have some experience with e-commerce. You need to understand how to figure out who your target audience is very, very well, because Shopify, you have to run your own traffic. And if you don't know how to run targeted ads, you end up blowing a lot of money, especially with Facebook and Instagram and everything else. So Shopify is definitely on the list, but don't be surprised if it's not something for a year or so. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's a different animal, man. Like, I love Shopify. Dion loves Shopify. She's a Shopify expert. I would love to do a Shopify challenge if we had enough people. It's just, running it for 10 people just doesn't make a whole lot of sense if we're going to do it for 30 days. All right, guys, it's 10:09. We've been going for 33 minutes. Do any of you guys have any other questions for me? Anything else I can help you with? I do have to talk about a little preview of something huge that's going to happen this week. Currently have a year-old store that does so-so. Is this program for new Etsy stores? Thank you. So this program, the challenge, is for anybody that's unhappy or ready to start on Etsy, right? So if you're brand new and you've never been on Etsy and you are on merch and you want to make a change, or you want to do something new, or you want to see if there's the ability to make more money, it's perfect for you. If you have a store that is not up to standard, is not doing the things you want it to do, and you want to grow and expand your Etsy business, this is also for you. Honestly, man, like, and this is something I believe in personally, right? Like, if it's something I feel like I can get value from, I generally buy it. And Like this was true in the KDP challenge that we went through. There's a seller in there that is one of the oldest sellers for no content journals. Like he was doing it along with like 3 other people way before anybody else. Consistently makes between $18,000 to $25,000 a month in KDP, and he went through both challenges. And each time he said he walked away with it. The first time he walked away with like literally one piece of advice that changed the way he looked at something he was doing within a niche. And in the next month, he had a book that did 5 figures. The second time he did it, like he went through it and he was like, going back to fundamentals and going through all of this stuff really drove home some points that I need to take into my business, like the way that I'm doing certain things. So for what the challenge cost, it's $97 for 30 straight days of live training. And considering the value of the coaching that you're going to be getting, like all 4 of us have very successful Etsy businesses. We all approach things a little bit differently. And we also all have experience helping people to have success. And I think that's the most important thing, right? Because like you can look at it and go, yeah, that's great. You have success. Like that's awesome. Like I don't have your skill set. That's true. You guys don't have the experience we have. You guys haven't gone through the trials we have, right? But we all have a lot of experience, all 4 of us, Jay, Dion, myself, and RJ, in helping people to have success. Like we've done it over and over and over again. Like the people that we've coached, the people that have listened to the things we're talking about, like they've had success, and not just a little bit. Like they didn't just improve by 5%. Like massive success has happened when they've actually listened to the things that we've taught them. And I think that's the thing that I'm actually proudest of. Like the people that go through our coaching programs, that go through our training programs, like a lot of times with information sales, let's just call it that, right? Coaching. There's not a lot of value given. It's a lot of fluff. It's a lot of hype. Ours is exactly the opposite. Like I'm not trying to pound on my chest and say, look at how awesome I am because I've sold so much shit. I'm far happier that people go through our program and do really well and start to make money, because like that is an unbelievable feeling that somebody has the ability to have freedom. Somebody has the ability to have some confidence and some hope in their business, and that it's making a difference in their life. Like that is something that is really, really cool. It's priceless. I may tap on you at some point, Ryan. I have some ideas to customize. I use the turbo theme from out of the sandbox, and it's legit. It's really good. But there's some custom development that I would like to do with the theme in the 2 stores that we're running right now at some point. Will the challenge cover TikTok regarding marketing? It will not. I don't think that TikTok is something that I have any experience with or any expertise. So that will not be something that I will be covering. I'm going to be talking about the things that I know that work. And quite frankly, it's going to be a lot. So there's no reason to add anything else. Nice, man. That's awesome. So Ryan asked a question about this earlier in Facebook, because we made a change from what we had talked about originally. So we didn't know how much demand there was going to be for the challenge when we first started out. And quite frankly, like, it's the first time we were doing it for Etsy, right? So we just didn't know. And the demand has been really, really strong, like almost overwhelming in some cases. And we want to make sure that we can provide as much value as possible for the people that are signing up. We want to make sure that you guys have the ability to get individual attention, or as individual as we can make it. And so we decided that we're going to cap signups at 700 people. Like this is the first time we've ever done that, but I can already see like we're going to hit that number, no problem. We would probably have more people in there. And the first time that we run the challenge, even though we've planned everything out, we've done the best thing that we can do to give you guys the best experience as possible. I want to make sure that we don't get overwhelmed ourselves. So we're going to cap the enrollment at 700 people, and it's going to fill up. Like I guarantee you it's going to fill up, just based on the numbers that are coming in every single day. It's going to fill up before the 29th, which is next Sunday. So if any of you guys are on the fence thinking about it, whatever, you should definitely sign up, because it's going to fill up. And I don't want people to message me and go, hey, can I get in? And can I be that one excuse, or that one, I'm losing the word in my head. I love going blank. Anyways, can I be the one person that gets in? So Yeah, because when it hits 700, like I literally like it's set up like it's gonna shut off. Like there's a quantity that we're going to sell. Exception. Thank you, Ryan. God damn, I must be tired. Might have something to do with the fact that I got up at 5:30 this morning. Everybody's coming in with the word. Thank you, guys. See, even though I talk a lot, sometimes even I too am at a loss for words. So, anyways, if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and shoot them across. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Whether it's about the challenge, whether they're about Etsy, whatever, it doesn't matter. I do have a preview of something that I do want to let you guys know. We are going to be dropping a pretty cool addition to the challenge. There's going to be some contingencies on it, and let me just say that like you're gonna want to sign up before the end of Monday night, because you may lose access to parts of this new bonus structure that we're adding on there. But if you're already in the challenge, you're already going to have all the things that we're adding in too. Like we're adding in more bonuses because we're like, what can we do to add more value? What can we do to answer questions for people that we know we're going to get? And what can we do that's going to like add more things in? So, anyways, you're going to want to sign up before the end of Monday night for sure. Also, on Tuesday, we are going to go live with the Girl Boss page, and Amy Herberger is actually going to come on live with us. So that's something that's like never really happened before. Amy has fought me on this for a very long time because I have constantly been in her ear that you need to talk more, you need to be live, you need to do more than just post. Like her posts are amazing. She drops so much value. You're going to get an opportunity to actually talk with her live, which has never happened before. So I'm super excited about that. Amy is actually going through the challenge. Like she is one of our affiliates, but she has gone through the KDP challenges with us. It has made a massive difference in her business. I can't disclose the numbers, but let me say that if I told you what the numbers were that she pulled off, you guys would be blown away. So Amy is going to be going through the Etsy challenge with us also. Amy is a very successful Etsy shop owner. That's where I was saying, like anybody that is going through this that has had success on Etsy, you're still going to get value from it, I guarantee. But yeah, Amy's going to come on live with us, and we're going to talk about the Etsy challenge, and you guys are going to want to tune in for that. That's going to be on Tuesday. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Amy is amazing. I agree with Nicole. So the live will be at, let me just double check my phone since we discussed it earlier today. Make sure I don't get this wrong. Believe it's going to be at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, but I just want to confirm it. Jesus, I have too many text messages. All right. Yes, Amy is going to be on at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, so 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. So we'll promote it a decent amount. You guys will definitely see some links out there. But if you guys want to add that to your calendar to make sure you guys don't miss it, you should definitely do that. It'll be on Facebook too. So pretty excited about that. Yes, PM in the evening. If that's it, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Like I said, my wife is sick, so I'm trying to give her some peace and quiet because I want her to sleep, and I am restless for some reason. So I just figured to hop on, answer some questions. If you guys have anything else, I will take like one or two last questions, and then I'm going to sign off for the night and do a little prep work for the week. Give you guys one last tip. So I've talked about this in the KDP challenge. And I've talked about this with some other people that I coach, the Top Secret Research Group. But Sunday is the day that I do a lot of planning for the week ahead. So what I do is like I have this journal here, right? You can't probably read that. Yeah. So anyways, I have this journal here, and what I'll do on Sunday is I will actually write down all the things that I need to get done during the week. Just literally like just pouring it out on paper. And then what I do is I actually go through and put that all into my calendar. So I do everything on paper. I do better with that versus having a digital calendar, even though I do use Google Calendar for some things. So I put everything down that I need to get done during the week here, but I don't categorize it. I don't slot it into time, anything else. And then it all goes into this gigantic binder right here that is broken down day by day. It generally takes about 30 to 45 minutes on Sunday, and it probably saves me a minimum of 10 hours a week, if not more. I would say more, quite honestly, because I know exactly what I need to get done every single day. I don't overwhelm myself and I don't overload myself. And I would advise all of you guys, if you're not doing something similar to that, you should try it out. Try and basically plan out your week as best as you possibly can. Make sure that you actually slot in self-time or slot in time for your family. Because if you're anything like me as an entrepreneur, if I don't actually plan to have fun, if I don't plan to do things that are not involved in work, I just work. That's the default. I'm here at 10:20 at night on a Sunday, right? So make sure you do that. Try and stick to no more than like 3 to 6 major items a day that need to get done. Because if you do more than that stuff, it won't get done, and then you'll lose momentum. You'll feel bad. Like I feel like crap if I don't cross off these things off my list. So 3 to 6 major items, and just slot out your week. And you also should build in something that Julie Stoyan, who is in the ClickFunnels world, talks about. You should build out something she calls sacred time. And so that sacred time she blocks out for herself that is just that. It's sacred, right? Like nobody gets to affect that time. That is the time where she gets to really focus deep and focus on strategy, focus on the things in her business that need to get done. And nothing gets through during that time period. So I'm going to actually start implementing that into my life too. And what that means is no email, no text messages, no Facebook, etc. Right? Like that is like deep work. If you've never read the book Deep Work by Cal Newport, you should read that too. That book is great. So anyways, I'm going to start incorporating that into what I do here. But yeah, organize your life as much as possible. Like 30 to 45 minutes will save you hours of time. My mentor, Brian Bowman, talks about it. He does it a little bit differently, but he's like 30 minutes before, like literally like in his case, he does it daily, but like 10 to 15 minutes the night before will save you 3 hours the next day. So anyways, Jacob, I already gave the preview. You need to listen or rewind a little bit. I can't talk about anything else other than that, but I think the thing with Amy is going to be really cool. Anyways, thank you all for joining me for a pretty impromptu live. Having 30 people on here to talk with on a Sunday night is pretty cool, especially as late as it is. Hope you guys that are in the Etsy challenge are as excited as I am about it. I hope you guys can tell how excited I am about it, how excited all of us are about it. I kind of just want it to start. I really kind of just want it to start because it's a great opportunity, man. Like it's very cool. So anyways, I'm rambling. It's late. Hope you guys all have a great night. I'll tell a story about Brian down the road sometime, Diane. It's weird seeing you, Diane Craig, instead of DC. I will tell some stories about Brian at some point. Brian is a fascinating dude. Changed my life. I have definitely, my life is in a much different spot than it was 6 months ago when I first started working with Brian. So anyways, hope you guys are all having a great weekend. Tomorrow is the best day of the week, by the way. So Stephen, if you've been through the OFA, you know Stephen Larson. You know that he does his Monday baby thing. I'm not going to do that. But Monday for me is the best day of the week. It is the day that I get to really, really dive into my business. And I am super pumped about it. I'm always pumped for Mondays. So yeah, hope you guys are all as excited as I am to get after it. And I'm looking forward to all of you guys being in the challenge with me, and all of us learning, growing, and having success. So have a good night tonight, and I will talk with all of you guys soon.